When promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship cannot continue. That's where things are for me right now, and why change is in the best interests of everyone, not just myself. They are the pithy and direct words from Alexander Isak aimed at his home club at the moment, Newcastle United, regarding this move. They're powerful words from Alexander Isak. They are brave words from Alexander Isak. They are admirable words from Alexander Isak. Now, there is so much to go through. 2 huge statements were released last night, and we need to go through them each with a fine-tooth comb. Alexander Isak has released his statement. He did it on his Instagram account, and in that post, he told Newcastle United that he wants to leave. Now, Newcastle United have responded. Newcastle United have said that, yeah, fine, he wants to leave, but they have also said, in theory, that they will not sell. And I'm going to go through each of these statements, but this is really interesting. Trust me, hang around, because when I go through the Newcastle United statement, you will see that actually, even in their own statement, even in the words that they use, in their own statement, they will sell. It's actually fascinating. It's so... I mean, it's like GCSE English. The way that they have phrased it, it is so clear to see that they will sell. And they are saying openly, we will not sell Alexander Isak. He's a price tag, blah, 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 blah. But as soon as you look slightly beneath the surface, Newcastle United have said in their own statement that they will sell Alexander Isak. So we will start with the explosive statement that Alexander Isak put out on his Instagram account, finally giving his side of events. Like, Alexander Isak hasn't spoken during this entire saga. Alexander Isak has kept his silence. He has conducted himself with decorum. He has been admirable and chivalrous throughout. And finally, he has spoken. And I'm glad that he has. I find what he is doing quite admirable. And when he says that promises are broken and when trust is lost, the relationship cannot continue, we can deduce that something else has gone on. We can deduce that perhaps there was a gentleman's agreement. He is intimating that something has been said that he could possibly leave if a bid came in, and now that has been reneged upon. So he is angry. He is rightfully angry. And now he is agitating for a move. He is doing everything that he can, everything within his power, to make sure that he gets the move to the champions of England. Now, to be totally frank with you, I admire this. Like, the motivation here, the reason that he has taken to Instagram is presumably not only to have his say, but also to put pressure on Newcastle United to release him, because he knows how important and precious this opportunity is. You do not get the opportunity to move to Liverpool often. You do not get the opportunity to move to this iteration of Liverpool often. Liverpool currently are the most exciting sporting project in world football. Liverpool currently are the champions of England. They are marrying up true icons of the game like Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk, with incredibly exciting young prodigious talents like Ekitike and Wirtz. So naturally, Alexander Isak is looking at what's going on Merseyside, and he's thinking, I want to be a part of that. I want to be part of the Arne Slot revolution. I want to be part of this potential new Liverpool dynasty. I want to go and join the champions. And he's looking around at Newcastle United, and he's been let down by the club. He's been totally and utterly let down by the club. The ambition that they have shown has been pitiful. They have been negligent in the transfer market. And let's be totally frank, if they could have got any of their business done and they weren't so inefficient in the transfer market, they would have sold him already. They would have genuinely sold him already. Now, I know that Newcastle fans are who have gone mad, by the way, but I know that they are kind of trying to position this as something else. Like, I saw something that was actually genuinely suggesting that Benjamin Sesko was being signed to play with Alexander Isak. Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely what was happening. If Benjamin Sesko had chosen Newcastle United over Manchester United, Alexander Isak would already be a Liverpool player. But because they can't get anyone over the line, because they failed in their pursuit of Delap, failed in their pursuit of Mbeumo, failed in their pursuit of João Pedro, failed in their pursuit of Hugo Ekitike, failed in their pursuit of Benjamin Sesko, because they, as a club, are constantly failing, they can't bring in a replacement, so they now won't let Isak leave. And now they're saying to Isak, you can't leave, you've got to play for us. And he's like, I'm not going to pull your chestnuts out of the fire. You were meant to sign a replacement for me, but you haven't, which is like ludicrous. So anyway, if they had signed Sesko, he would have gone. And they didn't. So when Alexander Isak is looking at what's going on at Merseyside, and he is seeing the arrival of Kirkes and the arrival of Wirtz and the arrival of Ekitike, and he's looking around the Newcastle changing room, he's looking around the Gallagher end, and he sees Aaron Ramsdale arrive. And you're like, well, yeah, naturally he wants to leave. And any footballer with ambition wants to leave. It would be ludicrous if he didn't. It would be ridiculous if he didn't. He would actually potentially go to Broadmoor if he didn't want to leave. Do you want to play with Virgil van Dijk or Dan Burn? Do you want to play with Anthony Gordon or Mohamed Salah? Do you want to play with Hugo Ekitike or not even Callum Wilson anymore? Do you know what I mean? Like, of course, he naturally wants to lead. Your career at the top is a decade at best, and you simply cannot allow it to pass you by. You cannot be passive in your football career. You have to be ambitious and you have to strive for the best, and you need to learn from the mistakes of your contemporaries. I think that Alexander Isak is looking at what happened to Harry Kane and thinking, I need to get out of here. Harry Kane would have won a Ballon d'Or if he had gone to City. Harry Kane would have won a treble. He would have probably scored all those goals that Erling Haaland scored. Instead of that, he scored 1 billion goals for Tottenham, 1 billion goals that counted for nothing. And Alexander Isak has done wonders for Newcastle United. This is what people forget. When I'm hearing people talk about Alexander Isak, Newcastle United fans, I mean, it blows my mind. If you had said to a Newcastle fan prior to Alexander Isak's debut, you're going to sign a player who is going to win you your first trophy for 70 years. He's going to take you into the Champions League, going to end your trophy drought, and then he's going to join the champions of England. You would have all patted him on the back and said yes. And now the club are coming out saying that they don't want to sign him, and it is utter nonsense. So Alexander Isak has conducted himself well here. Now this is where it gets very interesting, because Newcastle are saying that he's not for sale, but they're simultaneously saying that they value him at 150 million quid. Well, that doesn't mean that he's not for sale, does he? Like, if somebody's not for sale, they're not worth 150 million quid. Priceless means priceless. Like, there isn't an amount of money that would be able to get Salah out of Liverpool. Like, he isn't for sale. That means he isn't for sale. What Newcastle are saying is, Alexander Isak isn't for sale, but he is worth 150 million quid. You're like, okay, well, make your minds up. What exactly are you saying here? What is exactly the message? And, Newcastle are saying that they are adamant that he's not allowed to leave. And they seem to not really care that he went public with his desire to leave. But their response is actually so full of holes, so leaky, and actually so desperate. You can see that Newcastle United are desperate and they don't really know who they are in this debate. So let's go through their response. Right? They've been fairly firm, fairly decisive, and it's important to acknowledge that they rejected a bid of around 110 million, nearly a month ago, right? That the 25-year-old is not for sale, they said. But let's just read this. I'm going to read it to you, and now pick up on this. You are going to see exactly where Newcastle United stand, and I guarantee you, if you're a Liverpool fan, you're going to love these words. We are disappointed to have been alerted to a social media post by Alexander Isak this evening. We are clear in response that Alexander remains under contract and that no commitment has ever been made by a club official that Alex can leave Newcastle this summer. We want to keep our best players, and we understand that players have their own wishes and we listen to their views. As explained to Alex and his representatives, we must always take into consideration that the best interests of Newcastle United, the team and our supporters in all decisions, and we have been clear that the conditions of a sale this summer have not transpired. We do not foresee these conditions being met. What? I thought he wasn't for sale. We do not foresee these conditions being met. Surely if there are conditions for the sale, that means you are suggesting that if the conditions are met, this is their own statement. And I read it and I was like, hang on a minute, that own statement from Newcastle United doesn't at all suggest to me that he's not for sale. Let me just read that final paragraph to you again. It is so clear that they do want to sell him, right? So they've explained to Alex and his representatives that we must always take into consideration the best interests of Newcastle United, the team and our supporters in all decisions. And we've been clear that the conditions of a sale this summer have not transpired. We do not foresee these conditions being met. So if you do not foresee these conditions being met, it means that if the conditions are met, you will sell the player. So I just cannot understand how there is a world where they can say that he's not for sale, but then say that there are conditions. And the other thing, right? Listen, I don't ever consider myself a particularly intelligent man. I certainly have no major grasp on contract law or anything like that. But what I would say is this. Newcastle United, the club, it's a proud club. It's a British institution. It's in the top 10 to 15 clubs in the country. Their fans consider it to be a sleeping giant, a behemoth, a great. If you are all of those things, why on earth do you want to keep a player who clearly doesn't want to play for you? If you are this great club, this great principled club, why would you want to keep a player against his wishes? Why would you want to keep a player that doesn't want to play for you? I just don't understand it. If the principal is the principal, then allow him to leave. He doesn't want to play for you. You see, wearing the black and white and playing in front of the Gallagate as this honour that can only bestow the very best. If that is what it is, he don't want to be there. So your principal should now say, listen, we don't want anyone to play for our club who doesn't want to be there. And it is natural for Alexander Isak to want to play for Liverpool. How can he possibly not? What is going on at Liverpool at the moment is potentially historic. They aren't trying to win the league this year. They already have a team capable of winning the league this year. What Liverpool are trying to do is establish dynasty. The signing of Isak is clearly a mirror of that. Like, when you think about the dynasty that they created in a bygone era, Liverpool's greatest team, Liverpool's greatest era, think of the spine. Think of the names that you immediately think of, right? You go like Clements, one of the best goalkeepers to have ever lived. You got Alan Hansen, one of the best defenders to have ever lived. You got Graham Souness, one of the best central midfielders to have ever lived. You go Ian Rush, the greatest goal scorer that Liverpool have ever had. And then Kenny Dalglish, the man that they refer to in a regal sense as king. You see what they're trying to do here? The reason that they signed Wirtz, Ekitike, Alexander Isak, keep Mohamed Salah, make sure that you keep Virgil van Dijk. It's to create that sort of dynasty again. Liverpool are chasing an era-defining team. A genuine historic contribution to football is what they are trying to... Whether they succeed in that or not, it's kind of not the point. But it would be insane for Alexander Isak to not want to be part of that. Of course, the second that a club like Liverpool show any kind of interest in you, it would be foolish for him not to want to be part of it. And that is why I admire him going onto social media, speaking with respect, speaking with decorum, and suggesting that he needs to make this move. Suggesting that the time is right for him to make this move. He talks about promises being broken, which to me says that there has at least been some sort of understanding that there was potential for him to leave this summer. That has now been totally ignored, but he now feels that a trust has been lost. And once a trust is lost, he says it in his own words, the relationship cannot continue. That's where things are for me right now, and why change is best in the interests of everyone, not just himself. He is saying that Newcastle need to use the money to reinvest and become a new team. And I think that Newcastle United's board were ready to do that. Al Ramayan, PIF, Eddie Howe, they were all ready to do that. But they basically made a pig's ear of their entire transfer strategy. If they had got Sesko, Isak would have gone. If they had got Ekitike, Isak would have gone. If they got João Pedro, if they got Liam Delap, if they got Mbermo, Isak would have gone. But they failed in every attempt, and now they're trying to coerce Alexander Isak to save them because they do not have a centre forward. So they're trying to keep the one they've got. But the only reason they're trying to keep him is because they failed in replacing him. I think good luck to Isak, I really do. And I think that this whole sorry saga has gone mad. Like it really has. Some of the content I've seen has actually blown my mind. I wish you good morning. I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I ask you a massive favour before you go. Would you please consider clicking subscribe on this channel? I would love to welcome you into this community. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, and I'm going to be in the comments the second this video goes live. I want to hear your thoughts on this matter. In a bit.